there, it's Kira Forsyth from BNM and Physio. I am so excited to be here today and talk to you about pelvic floor health and how it translates into our riding and why it's important for us as riders. So first off, just to get through all the boring stuff, but what is the pelvic floor? So in my opinion, it is comprised of four larger areas. So one being the diaphragm. So we have our lungs. At the bottom of that, along the bottom of the rib cage, we have the diaphragm. At the bottom, we have the pelvic floor sling. These two work in synergy together. I can tell you if your diaphragm is not moving appropriately, I also know that your pelvic floor is not moving appropriately, because the pelvic floor needs to not only be able to squeeze and lift, but for us riders, really important for it to be able to drop and relax down. I'm going to tell you a funny story in a little bit about that. It also incorporates all of our back muscles and our glutes. I think our glutes are so important for riding, helping stabilize us in the saddle and just overall functionality in the real world. And then we have the abdominals. Most people think about the sexy six-pack muscle that we have in the front, but really I don't care about that. That muscle just makes us fold over forward. I care about transverse abdominis, which is our innermost abdominal muscle. It's kind of like the stanks of the abs, okay? So, why is the pelvic floor important? Truly, that's where we move from. It's our core driver. It helps us stay upright. It allows us to move from this positioning. And truly, if your pelvic floor is not working, you're going to be leaking all the time. So, check mark. If you're not peeing your pants right now, you know that your pelvic floor is working to some extent. Okay, so there's always positives. Yes, so funny story. And this is where maybe I tell a little bit too much personal info, but when you're first learning how to be a pelvic floor therapist, physiotherapist, you obviously go to a course, you team up with a partner, and you practice on one another. So I was still in school, and I was very fortunate to be able to take this course while still in school. So you work on one another and you do internals. So my partner's like, okay, Kegel, and I'm like, yeah, I'm Kegeling. She's like, I can't feel anything. What do you mean you can't feel anything? So I'm like, okay, I'm Kegeling. No, can't feel anything. So that night I went home and I Kegeled and Kegeled and Kegeled, and I was worried. I was single. I was like, no one's ever want to be with me. My pelvic floor doesn't work. I was all worked up. Next day, come back in, practicing again on what we're feeling as a therapist, etc., etc. My partner's like, Kate, Kegel, I do my best. She's like, yeah, I still don't feel anything. So she brings in the instructor. How embarrassing is that? And this instructor, Diana McDonald, who then became my boss, she does the internal exam, and she's like, oh, sweetie, you're just a typical tight ass, and you need to learn how to relax. So long story short, so common for us riders to be so tight in our core and pelvic floor that we are weak. Because a pelvic floor can be weak not just because, so if I take my bicep, I'm not able to just lift it up, but also if that muscle is tight and contracted all the time, I'm no longer able to contract it. So I use the example of, let's use Lisa. Lisa goes to me, hey Lisa, Kira, how are you doing? Good. Okay, my pelvic floor is able to move up and it's able to move down. Now, Lisa asked me again, hey Kira, how's it going? I'm like, good. And that's all I got because I'm walking around with my pelvic floor as earrings. Okay? So that pelvic floor needs to be able to not only contract, but also relax and able to have full function and full strength. So super, super, super important. So I know as I've been talking, you guys have been sitting there trying to contract your pelvic floor and relax it. Now, if you can feel that contraction and the relaxation, great. If you can feel that contraction, but can't quite feel that drop, I would almost bet my whole piggy bank that we shouldn't actually be working on Kegels, but we should be working on relaxing that pelvic floor and being able to get that drop, which 99% of my riders, we need to focus on that pelvic floor relaxation, not just the contraction. you and you can't feel the drop, stop doing the actual Kegels. We're going to go over some other exercises for you to work on. Okay? So, now these are some, I would say, not uncommon, but common symptoms. And while some people can experience them, I also want you to know that if you experience any of these symptoms, there's things we can do to make it not part of your daily life or your functional life or your riding life. And we can get you to that better space, okay? So, do you go pee 5 times, 3 times before you ride to get off your horse and go pee doing that, okay? So that would be what we call urge incontinence. We're needing to let go of that bladder so we don't want to leak, okay? Do you leak because you have increased stress, so increased intra-abdominal pressure, pushing down on that pelvic floor, cough, laugh, sneeze, drop your hand going into first, coming back, stopping at the end of your run? Do you leak, or have you leaked during the entire run? While that can be common, I would say it's not normal, and we definitely can do things to help. Okay? Do you have any pain during intercourse? Do you have pain in your tailbone while riding? Do you have low back pain? 80% of people who have pelvic floor dysfunction also have low back pain associated with it. Okay? Heaviness. And this is one, that word might not be quite appropriate, but do you feel any pulling in like your inguinal line? Heaviness down below? And that doesn't have to be all the time. Quite often it can be in that week before your menses because we have a drop in hormones. Then we feel a prolapse, feeling of heaviness down below. And that also, we can work on that by working on your strength. Okay? So, let's get down to the cool stuff. Okay, neutral pelvis. So, I have my trusty pelvis here in the saddle. Now, neutral pelvis is putting you in an optimal position for strength when you're doing your activity. So, for us, riding. Now, okay, so these are our hip bones, the model hip bones in the front here, okay? This is our pubic bone here, you can feel that on yourself. And then we have the tailbone at the back, okay? So, to be in an optimal position for your pelvic floor to work, you don't want to be too far tipped forward because then your swing's at the back. You don't want to be sitting back in a lazy boy, so it's too far in the front. You want it to be right underneath you, okay? To have that sling supporting you underneath, okay? Also, neutral pelvis, you don't want to tip to one side, or be here, or the other side. You want to be right in that middle. Okay, so what I'd like you to do is sitting in your chair, I would like you to roll forward, back, until you find that middle point, okay? You should be sitting right in the middle. There's a triangle between your pubic bone and your 2 sits bones. So 2 sits bones are your bum bones. You want to be sitting right in the middle of that triangle, okay? So, forward, back, forward, back. Now, pause the video, look at the person beside you. What are they doing that I am not? Most likely they're moving their upper body and not just their lower body. So we need to be able to distinguish or move independently our thoracic spine from our lumbar spine. If we cannot do that, we're riding around like this. In the trot, in the lope, okay? We're swapping around. Now, what does this do to our horse when we're riding like this, okay? So we don't sit down, just move that pelvis, upper body stays nice and still, okay? So, back to neutral pelvis, find that middle point, okay? Now, I want you to find the neutral pelvis side to side. So forward, back, you find the middle. Thumbs underneath your rib cage, the bottom. Fingertips on your model hip bones. Bring those fingers together. Are they equal? I would guess 80% of you are not, and one side is shorter than the other. So if one side is shorter than the other, it means we're tilted, okay? The side that is smaller, you're going to be up more. So push that side down, roll the other side back, so you can be level side to side. So this is a good check-in when you're going to ride. Start of a run, in throughout your run, or not run, sorry, your ride. Check where you are at neutral pelvis. Halt, where am I at there? Where am I side to side? Calibrate yourself, continue on. That's exercise number 1. Exercise 2 we actually already did, and I think it's great. Let's do it before we get out of bed. Let's do it when we're putting in those long miles, hauling to rodeos or jackpots. The pelvic tilt, okay? So this is that one going forward, back, forward, back, forward, back, okay? I would guesstimate that majority of you need to focus on coming back more versus going forward. As riders, we tend to hinge here at L4, L5, okay? So I want you to think about bringing that back and your tailbone underneath you. So tailbone down into your seat, pubic bone up, sitting right on those sit bones on your glutes, okay? Exercise number 2, I would do that one 10 to 15 reps, okay? Now, exercise number 3, let's work on lifting that leg over that barrel, leg yields, okay? Moving your leg front and back, okay? So, what I want you to do, I'm going to back a little bit just to make sure you can see. So, I want your fingertips on your model hip bone, okay? And I want you to lift up one leg off the floor, and then the other leg off the floor, slowly, slow is harder, without jetting off from one side to the other or picking your hips up, okay? So this is going to work on that hip flexor, it's going to work on our glute med, stabilizing the lateral pelvis, okay? And I would challenge you there, whatever side you feel like you shift to more, I would do that side, probably 10 reps, and your stronger side, 5, okay? My exercise number 3 is one of my favorite exercises, not just for riders, not just for pelvic floor, but just overall, because I feel like a lot of us don't breathe properly. And not that we need to breathe this way all the time, but we need to be able to use our diaphragm, engage the lower part of the lungs, to use that pelvic floor in like everyday life, okay? This one also, and I always think later on down the road, if for whatever reason we end up in the hospital, and the physio or respiratory therapist is trying to make you breathe in oxygen differently, they want you to do a diaphragm breath, and it's really hard to learn later in life. So if this is a tool we can have in our toolbox for later on, check mark, I feel like my job is done. Okay, one hand on your chest, one hand on your belly. So what I want you to do, I want you to inhale, belly rises, exhale, belly falls. Inhale, belly rises, exhale, belly falls. Now, look to someone beside you. What is the hand on their chest doing? You see, my hand is not moving at all. If this is happening, it means you're being an apical breather, using the top parts of your lungs and not the lower parts, engaging that diaphragm. So we don't want that to happen at all. So maybe pair up and tell the person beside you, yep, you're using the top parts. Oh, you're using the top parts. And your breath might start fairly shallow at first, but eventually, throughout all of society's expectations, and I want the biggest belly possible, the Buddha breath, okay? So inhale, belly rises, exhale, belly falls. No movement here whatsoever. This is a great one for falling asleep, kind of just resetting our whole system. It's great to do before a run, relax you down if you do get anxious in the holding pen. Anyways, do 10 to 15 of that one. It's great. Okay, last but not least, just incorporating another exercise into that diaphragm breath. I want you to do a diaphragm breath with a Kegel. So, inhale, belly rises, push your pelvic floor down. Exhale, Kegel. Inhale, push your pelvic floor down. Exhale, Kegel. Now, why we do that is when we inhale, lungs expand, down, okay? Diaphragm goes down, helping to drop our pelvic floor down. Exhale, lungs deflate, diaphragm comes up, helping pull that pelvic floor up, okay? So these two are working in synergy together. Quite often it's called a reciprocal Kegel, and it's opposite of what we're actually doing. inhale and I lift up. So if we're inhaling with the top parts of our lungs, apices, inhale and we think about sucking it up, that's actually opposite of what we want to do, because what we're doing there is we're increasing our intra-abdominal pressure, pushing down on our pelvic floor. That also pushes down on our pelvic floor organs, which we don't want to do, okay? So inhale, belly rises, pelvic floor down. Exhale, belly deflates, pelvic floor up, okay? And this one I would do 10 to 15 times. If you were someone that I said earlier, you're not feeling that pelvic floor drop, don't do the Kegel. All I want you to do is inhale, down, exhale, relax. Inhale, down, exhale, relax. And if you're not feeling anything at all, just go with, yeah, I think that's it. Yeah, I think that's it, okay? Because back to my story, it took me about 6 months. I was watching Heartland when I finally felt my pelvic floor drop for the first time, and it was a light bulb moment, okay? So, thank you for listening to me. This is just a little snippet into pelvic floor health for equestrians, for riders, for barrel racers, whatever riding discipline you do. I have so much more knowledge to share. I'm very passionate about equestrian physiotherapy, pelvic floor health, equine physio, because I'm also, I also have my diploma in equine physio as well. Anyways, if you want to know more, reach out. You can reach out to me at bdiamondphysio on Facebook, Instagram, bdiamondphysio.com. And yeah, I would love to hear more. But I hope you guys are having fun with Lisa. I hope you are learning lots. And Lisa, I will see you and the other riders June 18th, 19th, 20th, I believe. I'm so excited to come up there and yeah, share my knowledge while on horseback for individual sessions. Anyways, I hope you guys are having fun.